Recording in progress.
Jump inside the sub
and buckle on in.
Open your mind,
because it's time to dive into
2, 1.
the deep end.
The deep end.
Welcome to the deep end.
The deep end.
The deep end, bro.
Yeah, brah, deep end.
Deep man.
Too deep, brah. Hello, guys. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Stephanie.
Welcome to episode 7.
Woo woo.
Lucky number 7.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, what am I saying here?
That's like me sometimes when you're like doing all the vibe check ones, and I'm like, it's a vibe. Like, I don't know what else to say. Vibe. Oh, it's funny. I wanted to talk about some things that happened in my Japan life healing ceremony because there was a message that I got, and it's really profound, and I want to share it with people if they battle their anger and or like, or have the same issues that I'm struggling with, you know what I mean? Because it really helped me gain perspective on some stuff. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that too. So
I know that's something that a lot of people deal with. A lot of people I hear, they're just angry and don't know why. And I'm always, I'm not supposed to like try to talk people into doing sessions because that's the whole point of this is they're supposed to be drawn to me, and we're not supposed to be going out and telling people like, oh, you should try a session. Oh, you could probably figure that out with a session,
Oh, that's what I wanted.
So
that's what I tell
not
people.
Yeah.
I know. No, but you sometimes maybe you should like put that idea in their brain because it's like,
Right.
I don't know, because seriously, like that's what I want to tell people. Like that someone's struggling with something, I'm like, well,
Right. I know, me too.
when you feel the need to tell people that, you should just say, hey, by the way, I don't know, because the fact that you do it, probably is a little more awkward because you don't want to have it come to the point where nobody wants to talk to you because they feel like all you're going to do is suggest a past life regression,
Exactly.
But like me, like everybody, like my friend, when she messaged me, well, I can help you figure that out.
Yeah.
She's like, are you a healer? And I'm like, honestly, I don't even know what I am, but I know someone and she changed my life. So hit her up. Like seriously. So yeah, just send them my way and I'll do your advertising for you.
Sounds good. It's time for a vibe check.
Vibe check. It's a vibe. Vibes all day.
I'm digging your vibe, baby.
So I'm pulling from the Oracle of the Unicorns, and the card I got was Abundance. And it's a beautiful picture of a unicorn with rainbow-colored wings. It says, enjoy the bounty of life. Your supply is unlimited. Blessings are coming your way.
Hell yes. It's about time you have some financial blessings coming your way.
Yes, absolutely. I'm ready for it.
Like, yeah, right. I allow it. I allow myself to receive.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready for my blessings to come my way. Let's see.
Yeah.
So I chose the Starborn. It is the divine child, the star child, the destined. An elusive yet radiant aspect of the self, the Starborn archetype points to the cosmic spark of the light that arrives with each being at birth. The moment the newborn crowns, whether vaginally or surgically, the royal stars above are said to constellate in a unique shape that maps our path in the world. Astrology. The idea of destiny is controversial, yet the Starborn naturally feels a sense of destination and purpose aimed itself toward a future that is beyond the mundane. When this card appears, travel back to your birth story for clues and insight. What did you desire when you were young? Practice seeing your life from the mythic point of view rather than a series of logistics. Read the story of the 3 fates and envision yourself born under the stars with the unique destiny. That's interesting because we're literally just talking about past lives, and I'm like reading about Arcturians, but they observed in a lab that when the sperm goes inside of the egg, that a flash of light happens too.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's like, yeah, so it's like right at the moment of conception, and then yeah, like when the baby crowns comes out or whatever, that's like the birth time for your birth chart that sets the tone for the energy of your life, so that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, see on the side it says, have your chart read, study your constellated shape, ask questions, what does the process conjure in you? Faith or mistrust? What would happen if you saw the galaxy as your ally? What would happen if you went to www.mutablemystic.com and purchased a chart reading to find these things out for yourself? When this card appears, don't be surprised if you receive a surge of desire for a long lost dream, one you haven't visited since childhood. Let this desire shake you up.
Nice.
Dude. Yeah, this is completely confirmed some shit I was reading about Arcturus, because I was like, asking if like that's where I'm from, and I'm like kind of reading about it, and I think that means yes.
Yeah.
Because
I was laying in bed last night thinking anytime I like want to know the answers to things or I decide to investigate something, it seems like suddenly the answers start coming along my path. I just have to be open-eyed to them.
Yeah, you just have to be paying attention, because seriously, those fucking answers are right there in your face. Because I don't know, like sometimes, the gaslighting and stuff, but it's like, or, oh, I need a signier sign or whatever. But it's like, I really like that one.
Yeah, I like the card that you pulled because I feel like right now is a major shift of, at least what I feel like I'm trying to do is encourage people to get back to their passions and encourage people to wake up from the rat race, and that they don't have to be miserable, and to follow their truest excitement, their highest excitement, and get back to aligning with their purpose, which is, it comes to you through the form of passion, because that's how our body translates the energy. And I love that it says, go back to your childhood and what did you dream of, or what did you want as a child? Because that's kind of like our rawest form of our true desires before we have society and the world around us trying to change those and shape those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know when I was a child, I lived in this fantasy world. I remember I used to always look in space, and I wanted to be, I think my earliest thing of what I wanted to do with my life is I just wanted to be a doctor, or I think it's just symbolic of being a healer.
That makes sense though.
So when I picture myself as a little girl, I'm in Germany. Like that's where my inner child resides, is in Europe. Because even during that sound bowl meditation with where we were connecting with our inner child, that's where I found her, was in Europe. Because we had this dope playground. It was this half of a pirate ship, and then it had 2 towers that looked like castle towers. And like at the time, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves came out, and so we were like playing Robin Hood all the time. And that movie Tremors with the worms and the we used to play that all the time on the pirate ship and stuff. So yeah, like whenever I picture her, like what she wanted, and I don't know, she just wants to be in Europe, and she just wants to be there and be in the trees, be part of nature, fucking float around in her little fantasy world. I don't know. She does not want to be of this earth, because there are responsibilities and there's rules. But yeah, I think she would just want to create and talk to the plants and the flowers and all that shit, float around like a little butterfly.
I remember being very, very, very young, before kindergarten, so under the age of 5, and thinking that the world was just some big science experiment. And I don't even know how I had that concept in my head, but I knew that there was
That's really wild. Yeah, that's really wild to think about that.
And I believed in reincarnation from a very, very young age. And because I don't have any idea where I came up with this idea, other than the fact that it was just inside of me.
I know, that's wild to me. I think that's so fucking cool, because that's literally, yes, that's like you now. That's your inner child already fucking knew that this was bullshit. You're like, I call bullshit. This is not this is not what it's really supposed to be.
And I remember sitting in the front yard at my daycare and having these like ponderings of what the purpose of life was. And I kind of just knew from a young age that this was just some big science experiment.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't have any idea where I would have come up with that idea, but I also believed really strongly in reincarnation at that age. I remember even asking my mom about past lives and things like that. They didn't really believe that kind of stuff, so it was just kind of brushed off. And through life and, going to different churches with friends when I spent the night, or just exploring, searching for something that I could believe in, I kind of lost touch with all of that until I've done full circle, came back to an adult and find out That's exactly how it is.
I know, right? That's funny that you thought of that young, because I'm hearing you talk about this. I'm kind of trying to recall when the idea of reincarnation came on my radar. Like when I finally like heard of the concept, I accepted it immediately. I knew it was true I just knew it because I did grow up Mormon, and there was a long time in my life where that was my belief system, and the way they talked about heaven and hell and like before you came down and then when you go back, it's like was my belief system. And then I think it was after Chad died, this website that I stumbled on, it was called Channeling Eric. And in fact, I have it on my list because I want to ask about it, but I don't know yet what I want to ask about it because I've had my own experiences. Because it's about this boy, he commits suicide, and his mother, she has like no belief system, and she stumbles on the fact that he's communicating with her, and she finds like some mediums and she works with them and they channel him, and he talks about what's really like how it really is, like how it is when you die, how it is like how heaven is and what earth is like. And it was before Chad died that I entertained the idea of past lives because there was things that I knew about stuff, but that's when it really blew up. That blog like changed everything for me. And then like they even have like where they always say like, if, people who follow the blog, Eric will come to you in your life and like fuck with you. And there was this one time I was in the studio at school and we had to fucking recreate this song. Like, I don't know why I sang on that stupid song. Like I was way out of my fucking vocal range. It was falsetto. I don't like falsetto. Okay. I do not like it. I think it's weak. Like if you're a dude, just sing. Okay. Just sing. Stop with the fucking fake airy bullshit. Like just use your fucking voice or shut the fuck up. I hate falsetto. But anyway, yeah. So I was in the studio. I had no business singing this fucking song, but like it was funny because the guy running the session is my teacher, David Cole, and he's works in the industry. Like he's best friends with Bob Seger. Like while I was in school, he was working on this album for Melissa Etheridge, like this 25-year whatever album. I don't know. Anyway, the guy's good, okay? And there was like this problem with the signal flow and they couldn't hear me and they couldn't get it to record or some shit. I don't know. And like while they were trying to figure it out of nowhere, I see the Eric guy in my mind's eye and he's like, good luck. And then he like would bloop, like a bubble popping, and boom, the signal flow was back and they had it and it was good to go. So I was like, okay. But anyway, I don't know where the fuck that tangent was going. But yeah, I don't know. My belief systems kind of came to me later in life with that because I was really enmeshed in the whole Mormon culture,
That's something that really is interesting about the Mormon religion, is the being tied to your partner in the afterlife. And
well, it like the eternal marriage or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like you're married for time and all eternity.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent enough time in religion that I understand it. Okay. And so coming out of it and going deeper into these concepts, it's like sitting in the hot tub and it's like, no, there's a whole other space in this pool. Like there's a deep end to this pool. Let's dive into it. It's the same idea. Let's just go deeper into it. That's what I wish my parents could understand. These things that I'm learning and discovering are so fucking rad. And I already have really cool conversations with my dad and my stepdad, but like they don't believe it. And, I mean, my dad doesn't believe it because he's full on atheist, but my stepdad, I mean, it's really frustrating because when we were going on our trip to San Francisco, we were talking about all kinds of cool shit, and I wanted so badly to tell him about that life where he was my dad on the island and the spiritual concepts that he taught me because he was a shaman, Like in shamanism, they believe that like when you channel, like you're really going places and like you're going into the other realms and gathering information and bringing it back, And so it's like, what if he really legit, we found a time loop or some shit and he's really there in that moment telling me these things, or I'm really there in that moment and he knows that I'm there in that moment. You know what I mean? I don't know. Cause it felt so looped, It was like a portal and there was this energetic, I don't know. I can't explain it. But it was the strongest I've ever had a message come to me when we were in our channeling session. And it wasn't even that profound. I think it was just the fact that there was just an energy exchange that we both knew was taking place.
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Well, and knowing what we know about how everything is happening now, and I think we talked a little bit last week about when we travel or channel the past lives, are we going there in person, like in the moment, or are we viewing memories? But knowing the way the higher self can kind of split off and how we incarnate, it's totally possible that there could be a part of his higher self still in the shaman body meeting you and in the current incarnation as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it's all connected. Like Bashar's like, literally, it's all happening right now. Like I was listening to Bashar this morning while I was working on that fucking painting that's been on my easel for 2 goddamn months. I'm like, I can't put it in my little, like, I have a cubby of paintings that are unfinished. I'm like, when I'm more talented, I'll find you. And so but I can't do it because this is my ode to Lily. And so I have to finish this painting from start to finish. But I was listening to Bashar and he was talking about acting on your highest passion in every moment, you know, and I'm like, my highest passion right now is starting a new fucking painting, but I have to finish this. It's driving me fucking crazy.
I think at the same time, though, you need to kind of listen to that. Maybe there's a reason that is driving you crazy. Maybe it's symbolic that the healing process can't be done instantly or quickly, that sometimes you have to take a break and come back to it.
That is true, because I thought about that. Like I'm working on it as I'm going through my process. Yeah. Cause I've made a painting after every regression and I haven't done a painting after the Japan one yet. And I kind of want to see what that one's about, like what painting comes out of that one. Cause my paintings are even getting deeper now. Like I'm getting way deeper into the color, my use of color, how I'm telling the story. Like it's insane how much this healing process has like turned me inside out in a good way. Hang on. Okay, that one wasn't a big one. I thought I had a really big burp coming, but that was pathetic. So don't have my gastric juices in the bypass or in the bypass.
I don't know. It sounded like to me you were getting ready to cry. That's what it sounded.
Yeah. Well, that's more embarrassing. Leave the burp. Oh, that's funny.
No, that's like a really beautiful way to express that energy and to process it and to let it go and leave it on the canvas. I think if more people kind of embrace that kind of a healing, do a ceremony and then process it and leave it on something and let it go, I think that's very, very, very symbolic and very helpful, it seems like.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think one thing that it's really taught me is where to turn when I need to process something. Like when I'm really heavy in my feels or I'm really in it with something. It's funny, I'll either clean my house I will go clean my house top to bottom when I'm really pissed. But like when I'm in my feels about something and I can't process something, I work on my mural in my room or I work on the canvas. Yeah. Like you got to leave it, like express it that way, because it's not being trapped in your body, but it's being let out. The energy is being released into something and turning it into something beautiful.
It's kind of like what Bashar says about, a lot of us feel weak or scared or full of fear here, but we need to remember that we all agreed to come here for a purpose. And before you're even allowed to come here, you have to be a master energy manipulator. All have the ability to transmute. Every single one of us. You have to have that ability before they even let you come here. Therefore, we all have the ability to transmute negative or darkness into something beautiful and light, whether we send it into the earth, whether we transmute it through art. But we're not meant to hold on to all of that, which we as a society have been taught to I call it the comfortable misery. Don't do anything to change it. Let's just complain about it. Find other people who want to complain about it. Let's take some pills to numb it, instead of actually doing something about it, instead of actually going out and finding what your joy and happiness is.
Well, because that gives you power. That's what gives you power. It's like society is being taught to give their power away to every fucking thing outside of them. Like I literally, it's just every ideology that promotes victimhood. I do not agree with any of that shit. We are way more powerful than we realize. And like the current state of the world is in this state because nobody's fucking doing anything about it. Like you don't realize what your power in these situations really are.
I just ran out of my mushroom coffee and I've been wanting to get more. I was drinking Rise, but then I started reading a bunch of stuff saying that it was actually more filler than mushrooms and stuff.
I drink Everyday Dose. I fucking love it. And I drink
I've seen that one.
The green, the matcha. I can't pronounce it right. I always want to call it Makta. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I've been drinking it for a little over a year now. It's like completely helped my gut health game. Like I was gonna say that too. Mine has as well. Yeah, it's amazing. I fucking love it. I can't rave about it enough because I get like, you don't get that jittery bullshit coffee feeling, like your stomach. Because if I like coffee, but if I want to chug it and drink it all the time, but it fucks my stomach up, but not this stuff. Like you drink it and it's not like you get this jacked up energy. It's just like at the end of your day, you're like, I didn't need a nap today. It's like I just got through my day today, and I fucking love it. It's funny. Like I firmly believe that you have more than just they all say this and it's, yes, you have your third eye, your heart center and your gut like that. Those are your three brains. And those are where your intuitive intelligence and your intuition comes from because you listen to you could see with your third eye, you listen to your heart and you listen to your gut, and ever since I been healing my gut, I know this sounds really hokey and stuff, but I feel deeply more connected. I'm able to channel better. Like the shit that we've gotten, I wonder if I could have channeled that way, like given maybe a year or 2 years ago,
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, having a healthy gut biome is super important, definitely. Well, if you think about it, it makes sense though. Your solar plexus is like the center of the lineup. Yeah, so I started putting the mushroom powder in my coffee because I was drinking them separate. And then something one day just told me to put it in my coffee and kill two birds with one stone. And so I started doing that. And the coffee quit hurting my stomach. And I still have had the health benefits of drinking the mushroom coffee. Like my overall digestion has been really good. But I will say that I went from drinking probably 4 cups of coffee throughout the day. Probably even more. There for a while, I was hitting like Dutch Bros and getting quad shots after I already had my morning coffee. So I was getting a little out of control. But now I drink 1 cup of coffee that I make at home with my French press and then I was putting a scoop of the mushroom coffee and then some local honey in there with it. And that was my morning drink.
They have this 7 mushroom blend that I found at Grocery Outlet, and I used to put that in mine to get more mushroom benefits, because man, there's something about those fungi. They're really good for your body, I swear.
Well, they say that we are more closely related to mushrooms than we are to plants.
Interesting.
Genetically.
I love the lion's mane because it literally helps me focus. But now it's like, I wish I knew about this mushroom coffee when I was in college, because I think I could have just drank this instead of taking Adderall. But
I have a friend who recently told me she's been researching which brand of mushroom coffee or tea that she should get because she's been wanting to start drinking it, but she can't really drink coffee. And she said that she found a really good one locally here at Humboldt Herbals. So I was thinking about going down there and checking that out and seeing what was in it and kind of comparing it because I'd rather support local.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool. My mom, it's funny because I'll have it out. My mom's like, because I'll have the lid off, but I mainly put my hot water because I like to drink in the mornings because I'm fasting. So I like to drink hot water with lemon and salt in it. And I'll have that and I'll have the lid off so that it can cool down, And my mom, she's got the nose of a bloodhound, but I do too. So I know where I get it from, but she's hates the smell of my mushroom coffee. And sometimes I used to bring over chicken broth, but I stopped doing that because my mom had a fit about it. She's like, that just really stinks. She's like, I can't. Like, I just don't like the mushroomy smell. I was like, it's hot water with lemon. She's like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, then.
It's so funny. I try to get her on it, but she won't, because I'm like, they're not psychedelic, Mom. Like, I'm not tripping out all day. Like, she treats any mushroom as like they're all drugs.
Right. That's funny. Hang on. What? Huh?
Who? Slim Shady.
Sorry, Travis was getting ready to. He's leaving for a job, so he just came in here to say bye real quick, I guess.
Oh, nice. Like a lawn job?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's really cool. I just love I love that he's a Virgo and he's like trying to start a lawn business. That's just so cute to me.
Yeah, he totally loves it. It's like I think it really brings him a lot of peace. I don't think he realizes why, but
because he gets to get his fucking Virgo OCD on, like, and it's nature. Yeah. Virgo's an earth sign. Like, it's the best of both worlds. I just love that for him. I love it so much.
Yeah, and it's getting him out of the house and out of the studio and out into the dirt
and out of your hair.
Yeah. But it's also grounding him because he's highly sensitive and doesn't, quite acknowledge it or realize it, or work with it. And so,
yeah.
But I noticed a huge improvement whenever he's been out in nature. He really likes to go fishing too. I think, sitting on the water.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love that. I think that's wonderful. Well, and it's just, like everybody needs that. They need their connection to nature. When you're too caught up in the human side, you need to take a break and go connect with nature. That's how you recharge. Like, my favorite thing is to go to the fucking river and just lay in the river where my ears are under and I can't hear anything, and I could just look at the trees or just close my eyes. And I don't know, I just feel so grounded after I leave the river. I love it.
Nice. I like to sit in the river and let it like wash past me, like, mostly underwater, but with my head out because I have weird issues with getting water in my ears. And I almost lost my hearing as a kid because I got really bad swimmer's ear in Puerto Vallarta, and my ears couldn't acclimate flying home. They couldn't release the pressure of landing the plane, and they almost burst, and I had to be taken to the emergency room. And I didn't understand what was going on because I was like 12, and all I knew is that it felt like someone shot me in the head, like my head was about to explode. It was like the most painful, awful thing. But end of that tangent. I love to sit in the river with my head out and just feel it rushing past me. And I like to imagine it like washing away like all of my worries and anything that's on my mind or bothering me. I take that feeling and remember that feeling. And then, in the winter time, I put myself back in the river in my head and can feel it rushing past me whenever I need to utilize that healing, washing away feeling. Then I'll do it in my mind.
I love that. That is so freaking cool. I used to do that. I used to I would sit in like a cave, and there's all these like this just streams of consciousness flowing in and out. It's just like a fucking Grand Central Station in my head, of just thoughts and this and that and blah. And then I imagine it's not necessarily that I'm underwater even, but I swim down below it all. And I'm in a lower part of the cave and I can observe it all. It's still rushing past and going, but it's still and it's quiet where I am. And that was how I was able to find the same feeling. Yeah. I love that. Because there was a show, I forget if it was the channeling show or not, but there was a guy that was talking about kind of the same thing. And this concept really helped me kind of break through and taking control of my thoughts and my emotions and stuff like that, not getting too caught up in shit, because he was saying you can observe an emotion and a thought. And a good example is what are they called? Intrusive thoughts. Sorry, I could see the I in my head and there was no more word after that. But we'll use intrusive thoughts as an example. So it's you have an intrusive, I get them all the time about my kids. If you're a parent, you have intrusive thoughts all the time about your kids, and so it's trying to take that and allowing it to just wash through you. And I picture it being flushed from my brain and out my heart chakra. It just flows out me and that's it. And it's gone. gone. And it literally is gone. I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I'm not sitting stewing about it, you know? And so it's like, if you could take something and look at it as something that you're observing rather than it being part of you and just pushing it away, you know, and flushing it away, or yeah.
Pretend like you're like that conduit that goes underneath the road for water to go under the road instead of over it.
Yes.
Like, just be the conduit and let it flow out and through. I feel like we're not taught that as a society. And so we hold on to those and then we spiral with them. And that's what causes anxiety and depression, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, how would pharma make their money if they taught us to use our brains wisely? I mean, shit, I don't like, I look at myself even 4 years ago and like the anxiety that I had all the time. And, you know, I think working through my anger is probably going to be a lifelong battle, you know, but I literally look at how I was a couple years ago and now, and these concepts that I'm starting to grasp and actually understand them. And because a part of me, it's like, I really love philosophy, right? I'm a Sagittarius. Hello. Like, we rule philosophy. Okay. But like, I love the concepts, but sometimes it's like I like them and I understand, but I don't fully understand them, so I can't completely embody them. And I realized that I like was an epiphany for me. It's like it's one thing to like an ideology, but it's a whole other to actually embody it. It actually embody the things that you believe in and the things that you preach to other people. It took me a little bit to realize that the reason why I'm not embodying some of that shit is because I don't fully understand it. And it's like, well, why don't I fully understand it? Well, I don't fully understand myself. And so I started to like dive into myself. And I remember the moment in my life too, when I really consciously took that step into I can't say that, that's dirty, into my rabbit hole. Don't say that, that's so dirty. No. But literally, I think the deepest rabbit hole you'll ever go down is yourself, is going within your own. Oh, wait, I gotta say that without cracking up. Oh my God, I'm such a dirty mind. Okay, I think the deepest dive that you'll ever go into is yourself. You know, that's the deepest rabbit hole there is. And so it's like, until you can truly understand yourself on a deeper level, all these concepts that you're trying to embody, they won't quite stick. They won't hit at least for me. I don't know about how it is for other people. But it's like the deeper I went into myself, the more I started to understand like how I operate and how I communicate. Well, maybe other people struggle with this and maybe other people communicate this way. Because once you're able to truly understand yourself, then you can truly understand the world around you and how it really works. The deeper you go within, the deeper it is without or on the out. You know what I mean? It's like, it really is as above, so below. As outside, so within. I think I've unlocked all the keys of what is the source of all this anger through my healing ceremonies. And the last point was that Japan life. And even going into that ceremony, it was fucking frustrating. Like first of all, I decided to meditate in my room because I'm creating this healing space and it's fucking dope. And I'm loving the vibe of my room. It's fucking awesome, but I still can't meditate in here. So I'm like, why not have a healing ceremony in here since that's what you're doing this for? And I was just frustrated the whole fucking time. And I think that was the point, because even going through that life, I was really fucking frustrated trying to even recall the life. He was showing me how frustrated I was, but also how frustrated my family was with me. And he showed me a time when we were walking when I was a boy, and he asked me to remember what he told me that day. And so I saw myself on this path and we were collecting water. We were coming back and he said something, and this is all like to the effect of, it's not verbatim, but he says, when you raise your hands to fight, or when you raise your hands to hit somebody, you've already lost your audience. And he says, you must first battle here, and pointed to his heart, and remain calm. And then he pointed to his head, and keep your wits about you and remain calm here as well, which I found really fucking profound, because he was like, which I've done, like I've had moments in traffic where I get really irritated and I could feel myself, the pressure rising, and I take a deep breath and I push the pressure back down in my heart center first, and then I'm okay. And then I get through it and I'm like, all right, cool, I fucking did it, you know? And then I have other moments, you know, ahead in the road where let's practice this again. And so I start to get irritated. And then I take a deep breath and I push the pressure gauge back down. At some point, he just told me my anger is just deep pain. It's just pain. And so I cried. And I had moments out of nowhere where I just randomly cried. And he celebrated and cheered and told me it takes great strength to be emotional, and it takes even greater strength to release that emotion when it hurts. And then he showed me the tree and that it was intact, and he wanted me to meditate, and it was a fucking shit show. I was really frustrated. My mind was going all over the place. Is this done? Am I doing it right? I honestly was going to sit up and blow out my candle that was burning next to me. Okay, we're done. But that was the point. And so he came back to me and was another lesson was about my past frustrations and how just to find your center through the frustration. Like you have to cut through it. Because last night I was even trying to meditate. I was trying to just connect and channel last night, you know, and it was a fucking shit show. And the only thing I could do properly was just sit in stillness.
You think he was showing you how it felt to meditate in that life?
Yeah.
And why you struggled with it so much in that lifetime? Yeah,
because I think I was trying to make it something that it wasn't, and not accepting meditation for what it is. Like, it's like, because now I enjoy it because I can make it anything I want, you know?
Right.
It was a very interesting lesson. And I really loved when he told me that, like the first battle, because he even said it was a battle. He says, the first battle isn't here. It's not with your fists. The first battle is here in your heart center. You have to remain calm. And then the next battle is here in your brain, is to keep your wits about you, you know? And I just loved that. I was like, that is so fucking profound. I really wanted to share that with my listeners.
Yeah, it's like, definitely true.
Because there was a moment in traffic, like I fucking love Barracuda by heart. Okay, that's like my favorite one of my favorite songs to drink to. And it's like my badass warrior song. And I used to joke with my friends that it summons the Viking. Like if I'm drinking tequila and Barracuda comes on, I want to break shit. And I'm like wondering if that's like some fucking, because you know how in like fucking mind control, they like have an object or a phrase or something that will like activate your programming or a sound or something. I'm like, I wonder if that I think that activates the Viking because I just want to break everything. But yeah, I was listening to that song came on while I was in traffic, and I was completely enjoying my ride, and then fucking everything in traffic started pissing me off while that song was on. So I was like, oh shit, is that my mind control?
Yeah, we'll have to dig into some Viking lives because we're pretty sure that I have one too.
Oh, I know you do. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I know you do. I just wonder if I do. There's this show on Gaia, it's like Scotland's Secret Past or Hidden Past or some shit. Like there's so many fucking monolith structures that are on islands, and they form perfect triangles, and fucking like this one building is like this degrees and it faces the same as the pyramids and la la la. It's like, what the fuck are they doing and what did they know? I want to know it. Tell me. But yeah,
it'd be interesting to ask. I mean, maybe even in a session, if we
should
dig into some past Scottish lives, but also ask, you know, how did Stonehenge get there? How did these other monoliths get there that are in that area? Yeah.
I want to know why. I want to know why the fuck, because it's not just to track the sun going through a stone at one time, one day of the year. But
there must be like, something about the energy.
Totally, dude.
I was watching something on Gaia the other day, and I don't remember exactly which show it was, but basically they were saying that inside the Giza pyramids, I believe it's the main one, the big one, the king's and queen's chamber are pointed towards, one of them is pointed towards one constellation and one is the other. I believe that the king's chamber is pointing towards Orion and the queen's is towards Sirius. Basically, the way that they're set up and the way that they're angled, that whenever vibrations hit that chamber, that it's an instant portal that sends them to that star system. So each chamber was a portal to a different star system.
That's fucking sick.
When the Egyptian shamans, or they weren't shamans, but this is what reminded me because you had said the same thing essentially earlier. But when the Egyptian religious leaders would go out seeking knowledge of the universe and things like that, they would go into these chambers and actually go there, collect information, and bring it back. Kind of like what you were saying about the shamans earlier.
Yeah.
It was the same exact kind of a concept, but that each
That's
chamber
cool.
was attuned to the proper frequency that would open the perfect gateway portal to either star system.
That's fucking sick. I love that.
Can you imagine just being able to be like, oh, I'm going to Sirius for a couple days. I'll be back soon.
I know. You kids are driving me crazy. I'm going to Sirius. Aren't they the ones that are from Maldek or some shit like that? The Anunnakis?
I'm trying. So originally, yeah, they had come. I want to do some research and find out. So there's a brand new movie that's actually like in IMAX theaters right now that's about the Anunnakis, where they came from and all this stuff. But because I was hoping it would be like in every theater, but it wasn't.
I know, it should. That would be fucking cool. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's a new movie out by Billy Carson that is all about the Anunnaki. But we do know that they came before here. They were on Maldek and they had fought the Martians, and they came here to kind of move humanity to a different planet that they could survive on once Maldek was destroyed, which is pretty interesting because the Anunnakis claim that, right? I was watching a show last night, Deep Space, that said that there's 3 species that all claim to be the originators of humans, that all claim that they created
Well, then
us.
they say that in a lot of the conspiracy circles. Like in a lot of the conspiracy circles, the Anunnaki are the bad guys. And then in some conspiracy circles, the Dracos are the bad guys. And I'm like, what the fuck? I have a theory, which we'll find out when we
are the Anunnaki Draco?
I thought they were separate. I don't know. I always thought Anunnaki came from Maldek and the Dracos came from Mars. Because remember, the Draco's planet was destroyed too. But I don't know. I'm just barely... Okay, so that's another thing is I'm just barely coming into all these fucking alien races. Like, I've heard of a few over the years, but like last couple of years is when I heard about Dracos, and then I heard about...
Yeah, they came from a different star system. Their planet was destroyed.
Because I paint a lot of like different, just random. I like to paint alien faces, but there's ones that I keep painting the same of, and I'm trying. And in fact, I want to take that in the session. I want to know who the fuck those are. Like,
yeah, because they're kind of bluish, right?
Yeah.
I believe that there's a couple different species that are blue. I know Arcturians are blue, so that might be where it comes from, because we know that that's where your soul was born or originates from.
Yeah. This one painting that I started, it's really cool. I love it. I need to finish it because it's kind of like the one I'm working on now. I think I need to do it in phases. There's a figure in this painting and it looks like a girl, but she's blue. And there was somebody who looked at the painting was telling me, they're like, that figure looks Arcturian. I was like, oh, that's cool. And now hearing that I'm Arcturian, I'm like, wow, that makes a lot of fucking sense now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like your soul remembers.
Yeah. One thing we didn't say in the podcast last week that I want to like point out to people is I said the information and I didn't finish the thought, and it bothers me. So I want to finish the thought. Okay. So these beings, they work with people. They don't work with just your everyday whatever. They work with people who are here for a great mission of like helping the vibration and helping Earth ascend. And that's for anyone. So if you are an energy healer, if you're people who are, scientists, explorers, stuff like that, like Nikola Tesla is a prime example. Like that dude channeled a lot of his inventions.
I actually watched a Bashar video yesterday about Nikola Tesla, and
I did too.
Was it the hallucination one where he was able to hallucinate so realistically?
Yeah, and he changed everything. And he changed it in the hallucination. What was wrong? And yes, I watched. Yep, yeah, the same one. That's what popped into my head. So it's like people who have great missions to help humanity. Like you don't even have to be a fucking energy healer or a tarot reader or anything like that. You could be an inventor, a scientist. So it's like people who have these great jobs, right? Like you have a great mission. Like if you want to channel some divine fucking inspiration and take it to the next fucking level, then you have people on a council who are ready and willing. You just got to meet them in meditation. They're there and ready to talk to you. It is a process because I'm having a hard time connecting to that guy. And I like yesterday, like I wanted to last night, but one, you got to go with questions. You have to go with stuff in mind. Like every time I'm like, so what's up? And it's like, that's not how it works. And so it's like, I got to actually be like, because these are like advanced beings and I'm just hanging out fucking stoned as shit. Hey, so tell me about yourself, man. But yeah, I listening back to the episode, I forgot to say that like there's help out there. Like if you want to know more and you want to discover more, you want to learn more, you want to do more, like it all starts in meditation. And if you need extra help cracking into it and cracking open the shell, and what comes out is like you and your purpose. You just got to hit up Stephanie for a past life regression session, and she will, like, I'm telling you, your higher self will tell you anything you want to know. You don't have to go into your trauma. It's not just gonna unload that on you. It actually, that first session told me how fucking awesome I am. And it was like, bitch, you got a badass vibe. You need to share this vibe with everybody, okay? You need to paint. You need to create everything. You need to do, like, just stop being afraid and do.
Yeah, which is interesting because the more sessions we do, that first session just pretty much like, brush the surface. And a lot of people just do one session and call it. And it's really been an interesting learning experience, doing more and more and going deeper and deeper and finding out, like, we're like onions. There's so many layers and so much more you can learn and so much deeper you can go. And every single incarnation has had a whole elaborate array of things that you have to process and go through. So it kind of really brings to the surface how important it is to, like, do several sessions or continue the journey. Don't just do one and done, but continue to go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Because like every session I've gone through, like that first one was awesome because it's like, because the thing about awakening is first you awaken to your light and then you awaken to your dark. And so the universe is trying to show you how magnificent you are and how wonderful you are. Like the world has beaten that out of you, and you need to know it, and you need to feel it, and you need to experience it again.
Remember it, yeah.
When I awakened to my light and like the true light in me and stuff, then I started being taken into the dark. I literally went through and came out the other side. I feel like a deeper person now, or deeper than I was before. So it's like my art has deepened. Like I said, like my self-expression, even the shit that scares me, like it's a lot of it doesn't scare me like it did. Because like, yeah, there's aspects of this podcast that still freak me out, but it's like, I don't know. A part of me, I take comfort in the fact that I don't even think a lot of people are listening right now, so it's okay. You could just ramble on. I feel like the more that you awaken, it's like you're being shown your light and your vibe and everything, like what you're about. Because like ever since we've started doing this, like it's reflected outward like massively in my life. Like I'm creating spaces around me now that reflect my vibe and reflect who I am, and I love it.
Yeah, I love taking people to their healing space in the spirit realm in between lives and showing people where they go to process and heal in between incarnations, because I feel like it's really valuable knowledge and it can help them to kind of take from that and create a healing space in this incarnation, whether it be in their head or physically.
Oh yeah, because I'm like completely creating it in my room. It looks like my healing space, but it also kind of looks like the observatory because I have the space on my ceiling.
Time for a big hit, a big hit.
We also wanted to let you guys know that if you have any questions about what we talk about, if there's anything that you want to know about the universe, email us at thedeepenpodcast2024@gmail.com.
Yeah,
Yay!
totally. We'll do our best to answer your questions and it'll be fun.
bump your questions to the front of the line and let you guys know what we come up with. I think that would be a lot of fun to see what other people want to know, outside of the stuff we already want to know.
Yeah, send us your deep questions, man.
Your deep, dark questions, bro.
We'll deep dive
Deep into your brain, man.
Into the depths of your soul.
I've looked into some of these deep end podcasts, and a lot of these fucking people, you need to change your fucking name. Like, you are not deep about anything.
I
Like,
agree.
like, some of it is just so weird to me. I'm like, I honestly want to trademark it, and then we can serve them all and say, hey, you got to change your name. We trademarked it. It's mine now, bitch.
Yeah, I guess I looked up a deep end podcast before we fully jumped in and saw a couple, but thought, they're not nothing like us, kind of a thing. But then the other day when I was on Spotify, I think it was Spotify, I was searching for us to send somebody the link and couldn't find us at all. Anyway.
I know I can't find us on Spotify. Yeah, I was scrolling forever. There's so many deep end podcasts.
There's a lot of them. Yeah. But I did not see all those beforehand. But it's whatever.
Yeah. That's the thing is like, this is what's meant to happen. I really am not worried about it right now. Like, I've never been more sure of something in my life. Like, I don't know. I think maybe it's just because I know I'm on my path. So it's like, what do I have to worry about? Like, I mean, obviously you still have to do the work. You still have to put in the work. It's not like you could just kick your feet up and relax. Like, it's just the work I'm doing is towards something that I'm meant for. It's like I've hit so many brick walls in my professional sphere that I feel now the most plugged in that I've ever felt. And it's the most natural. It's the most relaxed I've ever felt. I don't have to force anything. Well, the only thing I have to force is being coherent, which is great. Like, I love it. It's really cool. I've never been more sure of anything.
Yeah, it's also a beautiful sense of freedom too. One thing I've learned lately is to just let go and trust that what's meant to be will be. And obviously keep working towards what I want and following the signs or the opportunities that are laid before me and things like that. But I used to have this overwhelming sense, I guess, maybe to control things around me. Not, I would get anxiety because I would want to know what's going to happen and think of all the potential outcomes.
Exactly. Try to control the outcome.
Yeah. Right. But not allowing myself to go down those roads and just trust in what will be, and just trust that I'm at the right place at the right time for where I'm supposed to be at has become very liberating. It's a huge sense of freedom and really taken a lot of stress off of my back and my chest and stuff, where I didn't realize how much it really affected me.
Oh yeah. Because my mentality around that too, controlling the outcome and stuff, I need to know how the fuck this is going to turn out, because I am a single mom. I don't have time to dick around. I have children who rely on me for everything. And so when it was just me and Max, every decision I made affected him, and I didn't have any time to dick around, and I was not interested in dicking around with anything. I wanted to know where my paycheck was coming from. I wanted to know I had a roof over my head and I had money to make that happen. It's funny being in that mindset and being where I am now, being in that mindset. Everything, it was like I felt like if I could control everything, I had control, but I was the most out of control of my life then and than I am now, because now I don't know what the fucking outcome is. I have a feeling and I'm trusting this energy, but at the core of it all, it's because that's another reason I don't really like doing readings about the future for people, because it's not how it works. It's I rather read the current energy, because that's what's really going on. Staying in the now, focusing on the now and what you're doing.
Well, just staying aware, being mindful of the direction you want to go.
Exactly.
At the same time, disconnecting from the results.
It's being present in this current moment, and because I started watching this show on Gaia, it's Ascended Teachings or Ascended Master Teachings or Master, I forget, but that, because I joked with my stepdad about how I want to study quantum physics, and that's definitely it, you know, and some of the concepts she talks about are way, like, it's really hard for me to like grasp it. And so I'm like, okay, well, this is cool. I finally found something that challenges me. But the concepts that she talks about is she's like, you know, like when you have a constant spiritual practice and you're constantly meditating, it's like sometimes things in your life will take and grab you out of that because you need to still be grounded and rooted in this moment and be a part of this earth and this life, you know, like I knew so many people who used to, like, once we all started shrooming and doing acid together in college, there were a couple people I knew that like went on acid trips and never came back. And it's like, all they want to do is just be out in the cosmos. And it's like, you still have to be rooted in here and the now. So
yeah, I allow my brain, like, you know, it goes on these crazy, weird trips and the meaning of it all and all this stuff. And then I have to constantly remind myself, but I'm here now for this experience for a reason. Remember, I signed up for this experience for a reason, so I don't allow myself to run away with it all. But also, I think understanding that it's so much more than this here and now has really made me like not fear death anymore. And it also makes me view, you know, death of other people a lot differently, because knowing that they're like around you and a lot of them turn into your guides or still help you, and they'll be there whenever you pass through to greet you and welcome you back and things like that. It's just really given me a totally different perspective of all of that kind of stuff.
That reminds me of this dream I had, and it was a recent one. Like, I don't remember how recent, but it was between channeling sessions that we've had. But I was flying in this spaceship and we were going over this cliff and we couldn't correct. And I feel like I was with a family, but I remember everybody was scared and so was I. And then I remember thinking, we're not going to crash. We're just going to go through it and we're going to go through to another dimension. Like, we're not going to, like, that's not what death is, kind of thing. And we did. We went right through it and it was happy. And it was like the weirdest sensation, but it was just in a dream, and then that was done. But I keep forgetting to tell you about that dream too. It was so weird to me. And
put it on the list to ask if it was like a memory.
I know, right? Because I remember consciously thinking that, like, we're going to die, but I'm not going to feel it. I'm just going to go through it. And yeah, it was the weirdest thing to me.
Interesting.
But I've had fears of death my whole life. But honestly, my main fear of death isn't the dying. I'm afraid I'm not done yet. I'm not done here yet. Like, I still have stuff to do. That's where mine is. But I think once I reach old age, then I might feel differently about it. But I'm not afraid of it. No, I definitely am not afraid of it.
That reminds me of, I was editing an old session, one of my first past life regression sessions the other day, and prepping it for the new past life regression podcast, the story podcast I'm making.
Which, by the way, she has a cool new podcast.
It's called True Confessions of Past Life Regressions.
Okay, wait, but put that piano in there too, please. Put the piano in there when you do that.
True Confessions of Past Life Regressions.
I love that. It's like, reminds me of, for relaxing times, pick some toury time.
To me, in my head, what was that? And it's now time for something theater, or like, what was it? It was something when I was growing up, and it was like a man in a jacket in front of a fireplace, sitting on like a chair.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know
that's what you're talking in my head what was going on when I was making that intro. I was like, it's now time, like, for story time, you know, like.
Well, no, because that's what I pictured. I fucking pictured sitting by the fire with a fucking smoking jacket on and a fucking like, that's what I pictured.
That's exactly what I was going for.
Good, you laid it down.
So I was editing some audio of one of my very first sessions about a woman who basically her trauma was that her house burnt down with her little sister inside. And then she died really young of tuberculosis or consumption. And when she was laying on her deathbed on our last day, she was so upset and so mad because it was unfair. She wasn't ready to go yet.
That's too bad.
She should have had so much more time. And she was expressing how it was so sad that so many people were dying from consumption, or what we know as tuberculosis. So I thought that was pretty interesting, but that's what reminded me of it, was not very many people on their last day expressed that of, I'm not ready to go yet. I should have had more time. But that one kind of stuck out to me as, really kind of hit my heart that she, yeah.
I really hate that they called that shit consumption. Like, why the fuck is a lung disease called consumption? Like,
so I looked it up, trying to understand it after that session, because I thought maybe, after sessions, I always go on like a research frenzy for a couple days, trying to make everything make sense. And basically, because even though you would die basically like from suffocation or your lungs shutting down, but it consumed your whole body. Your whole body, like, literally would just waste away, and all of your organs would just kind of all stop working. And so it would just consume your body. So they called it consumption, basically, is what I found out. Well, in the session, I said, can you tell what's wrong? Because she was in a lot of pain. And she goes, consumption. And then so it took me a while, and I looked it up, and I was like, consumption? Oh, tuberculosis. I didn't realize that was the same thing until post-session. Yeah, her body just like withered away. She lost like all of her strength, and very rapidly. Like, it happens in a very short period of time.
That's too bad. Yeah, that's going to be hard. How old was she?
Not very old, I don't think. 20s or 30s. I would have to go back and listen to some of the questions and see. But she had raised her little sister, who was a lot younger than her. And then one day the house burnt down, and they were searching everywhere, trying to see who was in the house and who wasn't, who got out. And we fast forward, and her sister was in the house.
Oh,
really
that's sad. Yeah. Like the theories, and I'm sure other people do too, but like the shit you're drawn to in pop culture, in music, certain things, like after going through some of these regressions, there's songs that I used to love, and the lines in some of them hit different after going through. And I'm like, okay, I really love it. Like, it's so much fun connecting to your higher self and just fucking asking questions about shit, and just finding like what is from past lives and what's not, like just learning about your soul. Like, that's the coolest thing. Cause like this avatar, this is just one version of your soul. Like, you have so many versions of yourself, and it's so cool getting to know them all. It's just,
You've had the opportunity to be so many characters and have so many different situations and so many lessons. And it's pretty wild to go back and to see them all. And like you said, I mean, things that you're drawn to in pop culture, or just things that you're drawn to in general and you don't realize. So like, you found the necklaces that were all together, and they happen to be necklaces that like almost every one of these necklaces that were together, right? Like represented one of the past lives that we've been through recently.
Yeah, they symbolized a past life. It was fucking crazy. Yeah, that Victorian one, the Japanese one, I found that arrowhead. And those other two are my predictions. Maybe those, because one of them's a Swarovski crystal, like it's made out of Swarovski crystals. And I just have a prediction.
Baltic, probably.
I do. And like, what's funny that I was thinking about the other day is, what if you regressed into this life, like from another life? You know what I mean? Like, how would you describe this life in your question format? Like,
I've thought about that before too.
Like, if you ask me, what did you do in that life? What did you do for work? I would have so many fucking answers. I've done so many things in this life. I'm like the goddamn village people, okay? I was in the military. I've been arrested by the cops. My husband was a native. I've done blue collar work.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Like, I'm on my third marriage. I've had many careers, and I'm only 42. It's like, what would I say when I ask people, when I take people to their job or occupation of that lifetime, like we only just had one job our entire lives, I guess in the olden days we did, but I definitely don't, not in this lifetime.
Oh yeah, because like it's funny, even when I first moved up here, I used to work at the Gingerbread Mansion. I was a housekeeper there. So it's like, but before that, when I was in San Diego, I did audio visual work out of hotels, you know, and that shit, I was like helping doing rigging and lighting and video and all this shit, like of course audio, but like fucking I did all kinds of shit with them. Actually, okay, that's another funny thing that just reminded me of like Gemini rising. You and I are Gemini risings, right? Those guys are the jack of all trades, master of none. Okay. So like it's not lost on me that when I was in the military, I worked it was called services. So it was like food, rec, mortuary, lodging, fitness. So there's like 5 or 6 fucking things in one job. And then I go to college and I do audio production, which has live sound, studio recordings, game audio, fucking Foley work. You do mixing, like it's just all these things in one, right? And then I go work for PSAV where I do fucking audio, video, lighting, shit like that, you know? And it's like, I don't know. I don't have just one fucking job. I have and even in my one fucking job, I have a million things that you can do in that one job, you know? It's just the Gemini energy. You can't focus on a goddamn thing, so I got to just follow the dopamine.
Yeah, that's the octopus in me. I always like to say.
I was just gonna say that. Those are my octopus tentacles.
I'm kind of the same way, you know. Right after high school, I like joined the workforce and worked my way up through the restaurant industry to where I became like a store assistant manager for several years. Then I went back to college and I have a degree in psychology and criminal justice, but I became a blackjack dealer when I was going into college. And once I graduated, I stayed a blackjack dealer.
Dude, I like that you're a blackjack dealer because that's my game. That's my fucking, I could sit at the blackjack tables all night and make all kinds of money.
I've been a table games dealer for 17 years at the local casinos, and I've dealt blackjack, craps, all different kinds of table poker.
See, that's what I want to learn is craps. I really want to learn how craps works. I love roulette because I like anything that's easy to bet on and make fucking hella. Like the way you bet in roulette, you can make hella money on one fucking roll. But like craps, it's complicated and I love that. So I want to learn.
Yeah, craps is really fun. Craps is really fun to deal. Here in California, you can't use dice. Well, you can throw dice, but the dice choose the cards. Or there has to be cards involved some way because of the way that the laws work. But at the one that I dealt, they shot the dice and the dice chose the cards and the cards revealed what the roll was, which can be pretty frustrating. But at least learning the game, you can learn the game and then take it and apply it, you know, take it to Vegas or Nevada, or the way they play it right. But, so what's funny with what you said is that actually roulette has the worst odds for the player of all the table games.
Oh, I would imagine. Yeah.
The worst mathematical odds of winning, and then craps, an odds bet.
But that's what makes the victory so sweet.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I've been a table games dealer for about 17 years. And then I'm also a painting teacher. I've had my paint night business for 8 years, and I own a fabric store with my mom and teach quilting and sewing. And then now I do past life regressions, and I have a photography company and shoot weddings, and getting ready to shoot a wedding this weekend, actually, out at the beach. I'm pretty excited about. Yeah, I've actually really been jonesing because I haven't traveled in 2 years since my honeymoon. But I think the way I've been getting through it is the past life regressions, because I go on a little mental trip, you know, different ones throughout the week with various clients all over the world and through time. And
I know.
But that's so totally exciting. What it feels like.
Yeah, that's like so exciting to me. Like a part of me, I kind of want to learn how to do regressions and stuff, but it's like, I already do so much and I have so many fucking sticks in the fire right now, or what's the term? Stones in the fire?
Yeah, or something like that.
Something. I got a lot of shit in the fire, okay? And so, yeah, I don't know if I want to add more to it, but yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I like to share the story, so that you can go on the journey with us.
Exactly. It all is just so exciting to me. It's really fun.
I love doing the interview, like during the life review or interviewing the higher self and finding out why. Why did you show them this? What are the correlations? What in that equals this now? They're experiencing this because of that they went through. It's unhealed. And that, I think, is one of the most fascinating things to me. And I've learned so much about myself and ideas of, oh, well, maybe that's where that comes from, just from listening to other people's stories.
Well, it's funny you say that, because like a little bit before my regression session, I remember I had all these big fucking dreams for myself and all these big goals, and now it's time to get to work, and I'm like freaking out. Like, I'm trying to plan my astrology course and get it started, and I forget what else, but I had a fucking mental breakdown, and I was like crying. I was so pissed at myself for having such big goals. I'm like, what's so fucking wrong about being mediocre? Why can't I just be comfortable living at home with my girls and just, this is what we do, and like, this is my life? Like, why is that not good enough? Why do I have to fucking have ambition? And fucking
you weren't made for that.
I am too lazy for this ambition. Like, I have such dreams and goals, but I just want to have fun. I just want my food to fucking come to me. For once, somebody make me food. I'm joking. I would sooner die. I have to be in control in the kitchen. Oh my God. Unless you're like actually good, get out of my fucking kitchen. I'm cooking. But anyway, I was like, we go into that fucking regression session, and I had that life of that boy who was locked in the attic and all that stuff. And he started it with his fucking dreams. Little fucker. But he like put intentions in the universe. Like, he had dreams and goals, and I was shown that life because it was a very boring life. It was devoid of color, and it showed me that I did have a mediocre life. This is what mediocrity looks like. Are you sure this is what you want? Like, I had a small mindset. I was bored. I was checked out. I wasn't surrounded by anything that brought me joy. It was just this boring fucking life. It's just like, I was brought into that life to show me what mediocrity looks like. Like, this is why you have dreams. This is why you have goals. And I was also taken into an animal life that completely surprised me. I actually was hoping to hear about my life as a horse, but I was taken into that jaguar life because I was fucking lazy in that life. Like, all I wanted to do was just lay around, and I wanted all of it to just come to me. And that's not how it works. Like, you have to work for it. Like, you have to put in the effort. You can't just imagine and try to manifest shit and like not take any action. Bitch, what do you think this is?
Right.
And so I literally was taken into those lives to show me that shit, like, it was so crazy. But I mean, message received.
Right.
Yeah, it was really cool. And so, yeah, like, that's what's really great is like, it brings you into focus what you need right now on your path today that's standing in your fucking way. Cause that's what stood in my way, was just taking the fucking action. You gotta just make a move. Just make a move. Just do something. Anything.
Yeah. I was watching a video the other day that says, you can visualize all you want, but you have to take an action to show the universe you're serious about wanting to put forth the effort to make your visualizations come real, basically,
Well, Bashar says, like, he's like, the universe isn't going to keep giving you stuff if you're not going to take action on the first inspiration that you were given. Why would it would be pointless.
Yeah. The universe will present opportunities for you, but if you don't take action on them, then there's no point.
Well, what's cool is if you just got to get out of your own fucking way, you got to because if you truly want help, the help is there. You just have to have the courage to, one, reach out for it and two, listen to it and follow it, and then you just got to take action. Like, that's just I don't know.
Well, we also forget, we all have a massive support system all around us, from our guides and our soul family and our higher self. And there's a ton of things working in your favor to benefit you.
Always, at all times. That's the whole point. That's their job. That's their job is you. And they love it. It's their favorite job is you. So it's like, it's all for you. So turn around and thank you because you're doing it for you.
Yeah. You got to help them out and actually take the action. So after we had channeled and asked what the home of our souls was, I believe, so yours was Arcturian, right? And then there was another planet. Where
I think
else
Lyra, I think they said.
Oh, that's right. So does that mean that you were at the Pleiades after Arcturus, or did you think you came here directly from Arcturus?
I don't know. We should ask because I don't know where I came from before I decided to do Earth School. I have no idea. Like that's the funny thing is I haven't even got to that point yet. Like I'm still swimming in the deep end of my past lives here on Earth. I painted these 4 figures and I always just said, oh, these are my spirit guides. But I wonder if it's like me on different planets. Like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. That'd be interesting. That's probably from your life on Lyra, because the Lyrans that are the cat, they're like the fighters. They're like strong fighters, protectors. So that's like their role in the Galactic Federation is they're like the fighters, protectors. Whereas
my spirit animal is the fucking panther. Like that's a wild story how I came to that. But like in fact, I'm gonna tell it, but my spirit animal is the cat or the panther. And like if you look up the symbolism, they are the keepers of knowledge from the underworld. Like they're the conduit from the other side to this side. Like the channeling that I do, like all of it, it's just like really cool. When I was like maybe 10, 12 even, I don't know, because 12 seems to be the magic number in a lot of my past lives or something like that. I grew up in Utah and my grandpa lived in Bountiful and he lived on the hill, and behind his house there was it was just the mountain. And so we'd go on hikes all the time, and sometimes we'd make foil dinners and we'd like hike and then, cook them on the campfire. Like my grandpa was awesome. We had a great childhood because of that dude. But there was one time it was all my cousins and us. We were all hanging out and we were hiking we called it Cougar Mountain Trail. But anyway, the older cousins ran ahead and I stayed behind and was talking to my grandpa. And you're walking on this trail and then you go to the right and there's this thicket of trees. And then below that is another trail to the right that goes down back to the house. And so after I was done talking to my grandpa, whatever, the kids were boring. It was boring. I was like, I'm going to run ahead and find the older cousins. And so I ran down and I was in this thicket of trees and I heard like this footsteps. And so I thought it was my cousin. So I was going to duck down and scare them when they walked by. And right as I was about to jump up and scare them, it felt like there were hands on my shoulders telling me to wait. And I shit you not, a fucking panther walks by like maybe 6 feet in front of me, just walks right in front of me. And I was super still because I'm like, this cat's going to fucking kill me. So after it passed, I ran to the house and told the adults what I saw, and nobody believed me because it's Utah. Like there's no fucking panthers in Utah. But I know what I fucking saw. Okay. And so fast forward, it was 2014. It was like right before I turned 30 and right before I graduated college. And like, I had this really super spiritual acid trip. I was part of this underground music movement called Click, and it was fucking awesome. I love them all. And I wish Click was still a thing because I would totally love to take you to a Click party. It was everything. Anyway, so like there was this one Click party, this apartment that they were tearing down to build a new one. And so the guy that was in Click, he lived there, and he talked to his manager and had his apartment be the last one they were demolishing so we can have this breakout party kind of thing, like this urban breakout party. The vibe was just everything. It was so beautiful. And this party went on all night and then into the daytime. Well, I went home that night, and like the next day, my buddy hits me up and he was like, hey, party's still going. Mauricio showed up with acid. Go get weed. And I'm like, okay. And so I go to the fucking weed shop and I was like, so I got to go to this daytime party. And I said, there's acid. And he's like, I got you. And the guy pulls out Northern Lights. And so I'm like, I like where this is going. I get, some weed, drop this acid, right? But like I was day tripping with some of my friends. They were still DJing. And like after the day party was over, we all like got in our cars, but I didn't want to go home yet. And so I went to the beach and I sat and watched the waves and listened to music and stuff in my headphones. And I was taken back to that time in the fucking woods. And I was shown that I was the only one who saw that it was real, but I was the only one who saw that. And that was like my initiation into the Panther tribe. And I was told that like that's my spirit animal, that like Winston is from that tribe. And the reason why he doesn't have a tail is because he energetically gave it to me as protection. It was really fucking cool.
Oh, dude, that's crazy, man.
So this is interesting. The Arcturians live in the 5th dimension, but I don't know. Ricard said he was Arcturian, right? But I asked what dimension he's in currently, and he's like saying he was on like the 15th. So
yeah, but if he came from Arcturus, may have elevated, like maybe he's ascended beyond it and had to go higher in order to go to the Pleiades, kind of like how I came from Sirius, but then went to the Pleiades.
That's true. I didn't think about that because he's on his whole ass evolution. So yeah, it's probably where you can start, I guess. Yeah.
Right. And if he's on the council, then he's probably like, yeah, really far into his evolution. And then, like I said, they like to work with people who are wanting to evolve. So the show I watched about the Andromedans last night was really interesting, but it said that basically they didn't have much conflict in their galaxy before they became spacebound. So they like ascended really, really, really rapidly. They got like really smart, really loving, and really advanced technologically, like way faster than most other species did. But they are also the ones that like essentially started the Galactic Federation because Andromeda got attacked by reptilians and other species and their planet got destroyed. And yeah, it was.
So they're like trying to make it so like bring about a universal law kind of thing.
Yeah, and like peace and like to maintain peace and not let reptilians kind of take over and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because seriously, like because that's what I kind of figured the Galactic Federation is it was like, yeah, they're all these star systems joined together and they, kind of just have this understanding with each other, and because they all just want to go about their fucking existence in peace, yeah, like obviously you have conflict where you have conflict because you need it, for your evolution, but like not the kind of fucking conflict the goddamn reptilians are trying to fucking,
yeah. And I think there's also the understanding that if one planet destroys itself, it has like a reverberating impact through the whole universe, not just the galaxy that it's in.
Oh yeah.
And so it's important that no more planets like destroy themselves like Maldek and Mars or things like that,
Yeah, it really does. Like, I mean, shit, even because I forgot to mention too, when I was saying how I got my start with Ancient Aliens, I actually got my real start with How the Universe Works, that show. And then I started watching Ancient Aliens. But like, I started watching all that shit at the same time. It was all, in tandem. I don't know. Because they always say when a star explodes, all the fucking insides, it goes throughout the universe, and so it's like, I mean, if it's going to send particles throughout space, like what other energy is being sent out there,
Right.
Plus, it's just like a delicate balance of everything. I don't know. I think destroying something, yeah, like when they fucking destroyed Mars, Maldek, it destroyed Mars too, and it's like all these people minding their own fucking business, and all of a sudden their planet's gone, and they're dead. And it's like, okay, fuck that life, I guess, like,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm high right now. I took one little hit and now I'm like, I'm fucking on Neptune. Let's channel the beings on Neptune.
After we had asked in that channeling session about where our souls' homes were, I went back and started like doing research on the different planets. And I had done a bunch of research on Arcturus, which I thought you might be interested in some of the information that came up because it really does kind of align with what we are doing in this lifetime. But also, the Pleiades are kind of like on a similar path as trying to educate humans and earthlings on ascension. But the Arcturians specifically, they basically have made it clear that they're ready to communicate with any souls who are willing to journey with them to a higher level of consciousness. So what they do is they travel through the universe, helping various planets and species raise their consciousness. And so they provide information on like meditation, how to raise your vibration, how to use crystals. And they're actually the ones that are behind the whole concept of life reviews and life planning, which is pretty interesting. They're the ones I believe that you consult with on a life review.
Wow.
From my understanding in the research that I've recently been doing. So I thought that was really fascinating.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. And so they're like so evolved that they're connected like telepathically, but they have like a really high level of like, love and understanding and unconditional love. But their brain waves are like one, but not in like the one that you think of like AI one. It's more like, universal love, universal everything. So I thought that was really beautiful. But yeah, they're a big part of the Galactic Federation. And so it's like the Arcturians, the Sirians, the Lyrans or Lyrans, the Pleadians, the Greys, and the Andromedans. The Andromedans are the ones that essentially design the Intergalactic Federation or the Galactic Federation. But these are all like key species that all have a different like purpose within it. And so kind of like I was saying earlier, the species that is from Lyra, different people say it differently. They're more like the protectors. So they'll go out and like fight and protect. They're like the military protecting the Intergalactic Federation and making sure that the laws are being followed. Whereas the Arcturians and the Andromedans and the Pleadians are trying to help raise awareness. They're taking incarnations into human bodies with the purpose of coming here to raise the awareness and raise the vibration of the planet to try to help raise into the next level of consciousness, essentially. And then Greys are pretty interesting as well. Little Greys, the little tiny ones, essentially are like 3D printed bodies made out of genetic material. And then they just download consciousness into them, but they're kind of like conscious drones. So any species can actually get their hands on the technology of creating Greys. And they're like little drones that you send out to do jobs for you. And so that's why they also oftentimes get associated with abduction stories and stuff, because they will go out and do the abduction or collect genetic material and then go back to whoever they're taking it back to, depending on the species that's collecting it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Something really interesting about the Greys that I found out last night that explains why people never remember abductions or they struggle to remember it is that they actually have the ability to create an alternate timeline to do their whatever they're doing, abducting or having a contact of some sort, collecting genetic material or placing genetic material into people. And then they can actually collapse the timeline afterwards or delete it. So you don't have the memories of what actually happened. And that's how they are able to conceal their identity and kind of hide things.
Whoa, dude, that's crazy, man.
Wow, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah. And it's interesting, the people that I have talked to that have experiences with abductions, it's like that. They remember them very first walking in and then don't remember anything. Well, why? Well, that makes a lot of sense, that the reason why is because they're actually able to like create a temporary timeline and then collapse it and erase it.
Well, that's kind of like, kind of makes you wonder if that was the guy at the fucking bay when my friends and I were streaming. Like,
right.
Who took over that human guy. And then the human guy, once he left his body, was like pacing the fucking beach wondering what the hell happened to him. Or what happened,
I almost sent you a clip last night because I saw something I watched a lot of shows last night, but there's a specific ET race. I think it's the EBENs. One of them are able to help souls enter into bodies or like go into different bodies. And I can't remember what the species is. I think it's I don't know, it's either the Greys or the EBENs. One of them are able to go into human bodies temporarily like that. And when I heard about it, I was like, bam, that's exactly like what you were talking about.
Oh, right. Yeah. What show is that called again? I want to watch that.
It was in deep space. So it was either episode 2 or 4.
I'll have to watch that because this kind of stuff fascinates me because the guy on the council is Arcturian and like I'm scanning some of this shit and it's funny because it says that they prefer warmer climates. They don't like the cold. And when I was talking to a member, he was like telling me he was in this pod and it was like moving constantly. And I was like, why don't you live on the ground? And he said it's too cold. We prefer. I was like, huh. I found it to be interesting, but now it's like, I don't know, it just kind of blows my mind because it's like,
I've heard of them saying that that's the future of Earth, that eventually we will all kind of live in pods in the sky. And it sounds like to me that that's actually a pretty common, the more research, the more rabbit holes I go into, it sounds like that's a pretty common characteristic of really advanced species. Yeah, so the Andromedans are completely spacebound species as well. And so the Andromedans are the ones that they pretty much live on like they look like the Death Star from Star Wars. They're like floating cities or floating continents. Like they're massive, as big as like continent, floating in space, and they have oceans and jungles and places for people to live, and their entire ecosystems that are inside of these structures. And there's actually a lot of scientific talk about that's actually what the moon is as well. The moon is one of these structures, and the inside of the moon, the whole concept of the hollow moon. And it was actually built by the Andromedans to stabilize the seasons and the weather on Earth so it could support life. And eventually there was a war over it, and the Dracos got control of the moon at a certain point. But yeah, essentially that's what our moon is one of those floating biospheres.
Whoa, dude.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, it was funny because when I first connected to him, I asked him where he was, and he's like, well, I'm in my, like, where he lives and stuff, but he's like, but I'm also here. And he was like in front of me sitting in a chair. And I'm like, okay. And it was funny because he's like, I'll show you this pod if you want, because he knew it was something that you and I are interested in, because we always explore this kind of stuff when we do our channelings, you know? The thing that I found so fucking fascinating is it's like a plant, and the plant is alive. Like the thing that he lives in is alive, and it's constantly walking on, you know, just moving. When they need to go somewhere, they just take off in the pod and go to a larger ship, I'm assuming, and go do their thing. But yeah, he's just in this little pod that's like big enough for him to sleep and eat and, you know, clean up, I guess. But it was really fascinating. I didn't really do much more because I was really fascinated. I was just kind of looking around the pod a lot. It was really cool.
That sounds cool. You should like try to paint it or draw a picture of what it looked like.
I know I should. It's funny the way, because I'm like, I was thinking about like, how would I describe what I see to people? Because it's like, it's vivid, but it's not. It's like, it's there, but it's, when you try to focus on what it really looks like, you can't. But then you know it, but you don't. And it's like, I can't explain it. It's like what it looks like when you're trying to recall a memory, how it's like it can be vivid, but at the same time, it's not. It's like a dull vision. You know what I mean? Or am I making any sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just what it looks like. It's funny. It's so weird because it's like you sense what it looks like, but then you can actually see it. But then when you try to focus on it, it disappears. But then like you know that that's what it is because it's like a whole cycle. It's like I feel it and then I see it and then I try to focus on it and it disappears. And then I see it and then I focus on it and it disappears. You know, that's kind of the best way I can explain it. But I would love to paint it. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. That would be
yeah, I kind of feel that. I feel like when I try to focus too hard is whenever I lose things too.
Yeah.
The little bits that are coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing with the moon also, apparently the moon, when the reptilians got control of the moon, which I found to be pretty interesting, they put some sort of like reactors or something inside of it. I need to go back and research it more. But essentially these reactors are some sort of energy weapon. in the moon circulating the Earth is like kind of got us stuck in 3D, and they're starting to fail. And as they're starting to fail, they're having less power of keeping us in 3D. And that's why we're able to finally start ascending. And this apparently was this was on one of those Gaia shows that said this.
Oh, wow.
Which I found to be like pretty fascinating. Like, you know, it's pretty deep in the conspiracy circles when you start talking about, oh, our moon is a hollow structure that was made by the Andromedans and taken over by the Dracos, and energy weapons were placed inside to keep us from ascending to a higher consciousness. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
That's crazy, man.
But like it is what's happening. Like that's what happened, you know.
That's crazy. Like, that's so funny to me.
It's fucking wild. But the deeper I go, the more I want to know. That's the thing.
Like, it makes no fucking sense. It makes no fucking sense. It sounds like something out of fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. It'll be interesting to go into Maldek that life, because
Yeah.
want to know, like, it's fun learning about past lives here, but now that we're like opening the door to other stuff, like, I'm like, let's go. Like, let's go.
I know. It's like the Earth lives are like, nah, that's like old school. Like, I'm ready to fucking start learning about some of these space lives on other planets.
So to a few months ago, like, come on, we're learning about it.
Right. We've ascended beyond Earth. We need to learn more.
I'm in the 5D. Where are you?
Yeah, no, I really am excited about it. I really would like to learn about the gray life as well, because I don't know. I'm trying to remember which species it was. There's one species. Oh, no, it's the Arcturians. Okay. So something's very interesting about them is that they have to be of a certain vibration in order to even have children. They can't reproduce unless they're like at a certain level, because they take very seriously that they're like making the future species essentially.
Yeah.
But so they self-replicate, they clone themselves and move their own consciousness into their new body. And once they make the jump, then the old body just dies off. They can live to like 400 or 500 years.
What?
Because they just self-replicate and clone their own bodies. I swear, dude. At least this is what they said on Gaia. I thought it was so fascinating. They like have this little, they drink light liquid, or like they ingest like a light liquid and then like clone their own bodies.
Wow, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, the clone grows in like a little pouch next to them or in front of, I'm not, somewhere around them.
Wow.
And then they just download the consciousness over to the new body, which essentially is kind of what the Greys do. They just use like a synthetic material and download their consciousness in.
Wow. That's cool ish. I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that. Like, I kind of like, why would I want to be the same body all the time?
Right. I know the Greys, the reason that they claim that they became this way, they're trying to like maximize reproduction and maximize the life of the species, because they're like dying off slowly. And so they're trying to make it last as long as they possibly can. So they try to phase out various genetics that they think would hold them back or make them die earlier, maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's cool, but it's like, so like there's still a thing called evolution, you know?
Yeah.
But then again,
well,
they are a very advanced species, so I don't really want to argue with their
Well, technically the Greys are us in the future. They've come back looking for like the genetic link to stop them going extinct, because they're from an alternate timeline where humans did destroy Earth. So they've come back to prior to that happening, looking for the genetics that they can reintroduce back into their race. And the concept, or what they're saying is going to happen, is that they have been doing this hybridization project for several years, at least back to the 50s, where they've been taking genetic material from humans and mixing it with their own. And they're creating like a sixth master race kind of a thing that they're planning on reintroducing back into Earth.
Wow.
And then once they hybrid with the current humans, I think it was Bashar said that the end goal is that all of us recross and it becomes like a seventh master hybrid race.
And then what? We take over the fucking universe or something?
I don't know.
Like, that's when it all gets confusing to me, because it's like what we know about going into a life and how you ascend up in consciousness and blah, 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 blah. And there's like all these different dimensions and realms and stuff. And then, but if they're like trying to keep cloning themselves so they don't die, it's like, what's the point? Like, where does that all fit in the grand scale of becoming creator someday? You know what I mean? Like, it's like our map of evolution, and then I don't know, it just confuses me when you get up higher with them, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe that's the question we can ask.
Yeah, because it seems like some of them don't really care about raising consciousness, or maybe they do, but just in like their own weird way. Like, you know, the reptilians don't want to raise, my understanding. They want it to stay low because that's where they are comfortable and reside, you know? So I don't know. It's pretty wild when you start getting in that deep. And then,
Well, it makes sense of why they're cloning themselves, so you don't move on, you don't move up. You're just trying to. But then again, they're not the ones cloning themselves. That's the Arcturians, huh?
right, yeah. But I haven't really. I did watch the reptilian series, but I didn't really take notes of it or retain a whole lot of it. The main ones that I've watched recently that were in the forefront of my mind, or that I took notes, was the Greys and the Arcturians.
Yeah.
And then I did watch the Andromeda one last night, and so some of that's kind of fresh in my head. But
No, I gotta start like diving into this stuff, because I'm like kind of focused on like how to channel and like the energy and stuff. But this is all so fascinating to me too. It's like there's so
right,
much to focus on, but I just don't know where to fucking focus myself. It's just I kind of just go with whatever I see on Gaia at the moment, and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I do go in
Follow your highest excitement in the moment.
exactly, because I go in there intending to do something, but then I'm like, oh, this catches my eye. Let's watch this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I've been trying to learn more about watching all these other kinds of shows and documentaries and stuff, but what really like engages me and sucks me in right now is like the alien stuff. Even though am trying to get better at like meditation, I've been watching, you know, the metaphysical stuff and all different kinds of the educational talks and the channeling shows and stuff. And I retain some of it. I do like it. It's interesting. But for some reason, the alien stuff really sucks me in.
It's fascinating to me. And I don't know, just all of it, all of space, like all of it, whatever the fuck's out there, whatever space really is, like it's all just really fascinating to me.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the reasons that they fascinate me is that they understand like the metaphysical and all the stuff we're trying to understand. So I guess in a way I'm also kind of like looking up to them and trying to learn about them. I don't know how to really explain it, but it's like they're obviously way more evolved than us. And so they've obviously learned and mastered some of these things that we are in the process of learning, you know. And so that I think is one of the things that really fascinates me, is that they're just so far beyond advanced. It's something to kind of strive towards, not necessarily, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but
I know what you mean. It's just learning, like, tell me what you know. I want to know what you
yeah. Yeah. Tell me how it all works. And they're like, you aren't ready. And we're like, yes, I am. Give it all to me.
I was born ready.
One thing I would like to do, you know, one of my friends sent me the video from Project Blue Book that was shot late 1950s, early 1960s, Area 51. Looks like to me that it's actually an eben and not a gray, which they look very, very similar. Grays are just a lot smaller, but ebens are actually like real bodies, like biological entities, where grays are drones. But it was an interview that they claim to be a real alien. And I've had people send this to me for years and years and years. And I would be really interested to ask in a session if that was a real video that was leaked or if it was a hoax.
Yeah. Well, I watched this one interview. This guy was talking about a containment issue that happened with an alien there at that site. And like how he said it looked like a fucking praying mantis or whatever. And it was like
oh, yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Oh no, my phone was empty.
Yeah, I thought that was super crazy when they said that like not anybody could have kids on Arcturus, that you have to reach a certain vibration before you can reproduce.
That's cool. Yeah, that is cool. I wish Earth would do that.
I know. I can't tell you how many times I've said that, which I know would be like really frowned upon. It's all everyone's, birth given right to, whatever. I just, yeah.
Can reproduce doesn't mean you should reproduce.
Yeah. The Arcturians also are the ones who have the direct connection with the Akashic record. They're the ones that are responsible for creating the Akashic record, supposedly.
Okay, well, that makes sense because I have an aspect in my chart that gives me access to the Akashic records. I found it randomly studying Chiron, and I was like, okay. And I thought it was really cool, and it made sense of why I could read past lives so easily for people. But I remember reading, and I was just on this fucking astrology thread and this random message board, and the thread was created like 10, 15 years ago, but it was just some random place that I was brought to on the internet, and I just reading through it, and I had the chills the whole time. So I'm like, this is I took it as, a little nudge from the universe, but it helped me to understand parts about myself, and so knowing that it helps me to connect deeper because I'm like, I already have access to this place, and so I just have to go with myself. Like, I don't need to be like, oh, second guessing and gaslighting myself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I totally want to go. I actually have, we should try it one of these weekends on our channeling session because I have induction scripting to take us there. And I think it'd be really cool to pull up both of our Akashic records. And like I said before, I totally want to like map out the last like 10 or 15, because we're almost positive we know now that we hop back and forth in time, and we definitely don't experience our lives in a linear fashion. And so I would be really fascinated to see the actual the soul timeline of how they were experienced,
The only thing that's linear is the lessons, like the learning format that you choose. Granted,
right.
Going into the lives, because you need to pick a time that's energetically compatible with what you're trying to do. Because you could jump all over the timeline, but the lessons that you're trying to learn go in order.
Right.
Want to know this, but then you want to contrast it, and then you want to correct it, but then maybe someone wants to try to come back and do different roles, because there's times where you may even want to experience a lesson from different angles, different roles, different genders, different everything. And that's what I want to go in, and I want to see where like where some of these lives fall in with these lessons that I'm trying to learn, because I have lessons of like motherhood, there's ones with relationships, but I don't know if that murder life could even tie into the scars of motherhood, because I didn't get to raise them, so that's a pain or whatever. But it's like I want to know where some of these things fall in the timeline, and like for me, what Salem was for me, because we know what it was for you. Like, what was my whole spiel of that life, and where does that fall on my lessons, Yeah, after that life, I had a life with the sister Grace that, I had a bone to pick with her, apparently, in another life. Yeah, and so I kind of ruined her the way she ruined us and you,
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, it's kind of funny. I could see in my chart where I have aspects relating to that very thing. It's like I destroyed someone's life with a rumor. And now I have aspects in my chart where people literally will just gossip about me for no fucking reason. Like, and people will hate on me for no fucking reason. but it's for me to understand what that fucking feels like.
Right.
Whoa, dude. That's crazy, man.
Deep, bruh.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in, listening to our podcast, and following us into the depths of the subconscious and the unknown.
Into the depths of your soul.
Come find me and book a reading on www.mutablemystic.com. Find me on Facebook at Mutable Mystic. You can find me on Instagram at mutable_mystic. Also, if you'd like to check out any of my music, you can find me on SoundCloud /stay, STE_music.
And you can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook under Quantum Healing with Steph Green, and book your own past life regression session, or you can send me a message on Facebook and we can talk about what you have in mind. And don't forget to like, follow, and share the Deep End podcast on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in today.
Till we can bend your mind next time. Always remember to ground your feet in the dirt and enjoy life with those gratitude glasses on. Catch us on
The Deep End.
The deep end.
Welcome to the deep end.
The Deep End. The Deep End, bro.
Yeah, bruh, deep end.
Deep, man.
Deep End. The Deep End.